All right, going live in three, two, one. Well, this is No Limits with Amanda. Amanda, how are you doing today?
I'm doing really well. Thank you for asking. How are you
Cool.
doing, Sue?
I'm okay. Okay. Nothing real exciting going on right now, except for this. Before we went live, we were talking about the weather, and I said they got some really strong winds over here, and my power did flicker for a split second about 15 minutes ago. So I'm a little concerned. Supposedly this is a pretty powerful storm. They're calling for severe thunderstorms that last throughout the afternoon and into the evening, and then should clear out from here anyway. Should clear out by tomorrow morning. So. Other than that, I'm a little concerned. I don't want to have another power outage. Last time the power went out back in January. It was out for 4 days, and I don't want to go through that again. So
Ooh, I don't blame you. I don't want I don't want power outages either, but it looks like we're gonna get thunderstorms too tonight. So
yeah. So hopefully you'll be fine.
hopefully, sorry, what were you gonna say? I cut you off.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I hope everything's safe for you. So everyone goes through there.
Hopefully we'll be all right.
So before we go too far, I always want to remind everybody, if you'd like to support what we're doing, we have an affiliate link in the description below for NordVPN. The service I've used is very good, very reliable, and it will hide your location, protect your identity, and as several people have also stated, you can actually stream video, TV shows, movies from different parts of the world where you would normally be blocked. And the service, I believe, the last I looked, I clicked on it myself just to see what it said. I believe it's 70% off the regular price, which is pretty decent. And if you purchase the service, that helps fund what we're doing, and we appreciate that. I think last time I looked at, we got like a little 180 to 190 clicks on average per week, but only a few people were buying. But it was interesting how many people were actually clicking on it. So I thought I'd bring that up. So,
Okay, does that help us if people click on it or not
well,
really?
it doesn't. Clicking, at least the NordVPN knows that we're making our presence known. They obviously they would prefer more people to purchase the service, but at the same time, yeah, at least they know that we're alive and kicking. So at the very least.
Very cool. So thank you, everybody.
Alrighty. Well, let's take a look at our question from last week. I'm going to bring it up. Give me 1 second here. All right. Oh, I forgot to ask. Are you able to see this, Amanda?
Yeah, all good on. I see it.
Cool. Let's see. Oh, before we go too far, we got someone saying hi, Ivan. Ivan, I won't pronounce your last name, Ivan, but hi back. So, all right. So
Oh, cool. Looks like there's superheroes in that little icon. How cool is that? Hi, Ivan.
What'd you say was in there?
Superheroes, no? Is it? Or is it too?
Maybe
am I
Ivan
not
can tell
looking
us.
up the right thing?
Yeah,
Yeah, it looks like some.
maybe Ivan can tell us what that is. So yeah, it looks pretty cool though. So it looks like, I'm guessing like female superheroes. So I can see that. I can't tell anywhere though. So cool. All right. All right. So our question was, what does the weather affect your mood? And well, right now I'm experiencing some, I will say with the strong winds, I'm a little antsy, a little, unsure if there's going to be like, is this going to cause major problems? So yeah, right now it's definitely affecting my mood. So.
I feel it too. I actually woke up this morning feeling a little bit down, and I think it's because there's no sun out. The sun always makes me feel so much better. So I definitely am affected.
Oh, really? Oh, okay. I
hmm
I could deal. If it's no sun or sun, that doesn't bother me sometimes. But I will say, if there's no sun for maybe too long of a period of time, I guess it might start to bother me for a while. So
hmm
I remember going on through times where a while back where there'd be like almost 2 weeks of straight rain, and that would start to get out to me after a while. So um,
hmm
and then if there's too much sunshine during the summertime, that can also get to me as well. So it goes both ways, I guess.
Absolutely makes sense.
Well, let's see. 83% with yes, it does affect your mood, 9% with no, and 7% with it doesn't matter. So let me bring up my magnifier so we can actually see this. Juan Carlos says no, I just feel a different energy in the area. I am when weather changes. Okay. Different energy. Isn't that kind of like having a different mood, I guess? don't know.
Yeah, it seems like it. Or maybe he means like outside there's this energy in the air. I don't know if it's personally or externally.
Mhm. Let's see. Wrong House 2004 says I have nothing to say on real life, but games. GTA San Andreas affects my frames per second lag 10 to the 29. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Frames per second. Okay. He's just telling you that his game slows down a little when he's playing. Give me your soul now says I like when it rains because the temperature in my country when it's sunny makes my room another variation of hell. Oh, okay. You know, I wonder how would the temperature. Okay. Temperature would be that. Okay. I assume it's very, very hot there. So,
Mhm.
Velage Jenko says yes. Miss Valerie says, yes, I live in the Midwest, Ohio to be exact. One day it's sunny and 70. The next day it's snowing and freezing, rain and 30. Constantly getting sick. I love autumn, winter, and spring. I hate the summer, the extreme dry heat. Well, where I'm at, we don't get the dry heat. We get the humidity. So
Mm.
which is like makes it feel really nasty all the time. So let's see. I'm not going to butcher your name, so I won't say what it is. But okay, symbols. Ederson Eric says, "What's the difference between no and it doesn't matter?" Hmm. Well, no means that it doesn't affect you. Let's see. That's a good question. Does it affect your mood? No, and doesn't matter means you don't think about it whether or not it affects you or not. That's so. No, I don't know. How would you describe that?
Exactly what you said. Yeah, like some people don't even have any awareness around it. They don't even think about it.
Yeah. There you go.
Mhm.
See, Kane. Did I skip Kane? Kane says rain plus with night plus storming plus dusting is the best weather for me. Okay. You
I
got
like that too. I like a nighttime thunderstorm. It helps me to sleep.
really? Oh wow. Okay,
Yeah.
that's interesting.
Mhm.
It always wakes me up, and I get like a little panicky, like oh my goodness, we're gonna get it. Well, I'm going through that power outage thing again. So the
Mhm.
uh no. So I'm not. What is it? Why? Why and no? I'm not sure.
Is it yes? No.
Yes.
Is
Oh,
it
yes
yes
and
and
no.
no or
Oh, yes
no?
and no. Okay, maybe that's what it is. Okay. Ward Eats 42 says, I'm from New England and used to get weather changing on a daily basis. Definitely happier when the weather warms up in the spring. Okay.
No,
We're
it's what? K is what? So what is no? What I know? I don't know.
yeah. I'm not sure. I haven't taken Spanish for a long time, so sorry.
Mm.
Julian Game says, congrats. Oh, thank you. Yeah, for reaching 5,000 subscribers. Thank you. Appreciate that. Uh, yes. For 316, yes, especially monsoon and winter. I hate them. Monsoon. I've never lived through a monsoon. Okay. Beast Mode says, yes, it does a lot. Shane says, because when there's sun, there's light, and it's nice and warm out during the spring and summer and sunshine, and I can go outside more. Okay. And let's see. Oh, and Renegade MS. I want rain to be in effect. It makes me happy seeing others' misery. Okay. Others' misery, other aesthetic appearance. And Mario says, wait, I would, oh, he was I was first to vote. Very unexpected. Oh, okay. Well, congratulations for being the first to vote. So, alrighty. Well, how do you feel about that? Anything else you'd like to add about that, Amanda?
No, I just my husband hates when it rains at night when we're trying to sleep. He's like, "Oh my goodness, it's so loud. It keeps me awake." And I love it. I love like a good storm where you can snuggle into bed and watch some Netflix and just chill out. I love that.
Oh,
But
does it wake you up though? I mean, have you ever been a storm that wakes you up and like you have to get up early or something? Does that ever affect you?
no, I mean, a few weeks ago there was thunder like late at night and it actually did wake me out of sleep and I was like, "Whoa," because it was really loud, but I went right back to sleep. That doesn't really bother me. But I love the summer and the spring weather. Like that's the best. So I'm like Shane, when there's sun out, there's light, and I just feel so much lighter and happier.
Hmm. Okay. Yeah.
I hate the cold.
My dad will say, he says, he loves the wintertime because his logic is that if it's cold outside, he can go inside and always turn on the heat. But he hates in the DC area where he lives. He lives about 12 miles from me. I talked about the humidity, and he just can't stand the humidity. It just gets so annoying to him. So that's why he says he likes the winter better because of that. Because he can always just
Mm.
like, just go inside and warm up. And I reminded him that when I've gone outside and when it's cold, I've had to work outside in the cold, and you can bump your hand on something when you're working. Like I do a lot of, if I was working on the car or something, and it would just my hands would just go immediately just go into an intense pain because the cold seems to intensify that for some reason. So that would always bug me more. It wouldn't be as intense if it was like say the when it was warmer out. So so for me, I was like I would prefer like a medium between, not too hot, not the humidity for sure, but also not too cold either. So
Mhm.
alrighty.
You're like the Goldilocks of the weather. Not too cold, not too hot, just right.
Yeah. Alrighty. Let's see. Since we're going to talk about our subject today is yoga, we're going to ask a question about yoga. So, how did you want to phrase that?
I wanted to know if anybody has tried yoga or if they're looking to try yoga. So I guess, have you ever have you ever tried yoga?
Okay. Should yoga be capitalized or is it just lowercase?
No. Mm-mm.
Okay.
But you wrote has, and
Yes.
I don't know
Thank
if you noticed that.
you.
Mhm.
Try yoga. And there was another question you wanted to ask too, right? Uh,
Um, I don't know. I think we could do it in the response because I wanted to know if anybody hasn't tried it but would like to. So I think we can do that like in the responses.
okay. Okay. Um, if you have it, would you like to try or something? Was that like that or
Mhm.
okay? Would you like to try? Would you like to try? Okay. All right. Ever tried yoga? Okay, so basically it's yes and no, I guess.
Mhm.
Okay. And anything else to add to that? Like maybe I don't care.
Sure. Or
I'm not
I don't
interested.
work out. I'm not interested. Yeah.
Okay. I don't work out. I like that one. Put that. We tried yoga. Yeah. Okay. I'm not interested. Would that be under the same one? Maybe I don't work. I don't work out. I'm not. No, I guess we could make that separate. Okay. Anything else?
No, I think that's good. What do you think?
Yeah. Let me proofread real quick. Have you tried yoga? If you haven't, would you like to try? Yes. No. I don't work out. Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and post that. Here we go. Cool. And we got Adam saying, "Yay, voice reveal! Yay!" To the back. Well, welcome to our show. Yeah, we do these on a regular basis. So, welcome to the show. Alrighty, cool. So today's show, we're going to talk about yoga. Not last show, but a couple weeks shows back, we talked about meditation, and there's some similarities, correct, to both yoga and meditation. Am I right on that?
Yes, because yoga has 8 limbs. I'm like, should I even go into the description now? There are actually 8 limbs to the yoga practice, and one of the limbs is meditation. So, like, one of the branches, I guess you could say, is meditation.
Okay. Now, before we go too far, I just want to, do I sound clear to you? Does my voice sound okay? Am I breaking up at all?
No, you're perfect.
Okay,
Am I
because
breaking up?
you a little bit, yeah, you are breaking up a little bit every once in a while. So, and if I've asked you to repeat yourself, I apologize, but that's why. That's because it just goes into a little mode where you get kind of warbly for a second there, and then you come back. So,
Oh, no, it actually could be the rain because when it rains, my Wi-Fi tends to be a little bit finicky.
okay, okay, that's fine.
So,
I can understand you. I'm sure everyone else can too. It is noticeable once in a while. I just want to point that out. So, okay, that's cool. So, yeah, go ahead and so you said the 8 limbs of yoga. Is that what you said?
right. So I said there are 8 limbs of yoga. So basically, like, there's 8 branches of yoga because yoga, should I just start Zoom? Like, should I just go right into this?
Yeah,
Because
yeah. Why don't you take the helm on this one, because this is you're the expert on this. I don't know, and then as we go along, I can ask you more questions, and we can go from there. So
okay, perfect. So I wanted to, before I even get into that descriptor, to really just define what yoga is, because I feel like people think yoga, and in the past I've thought yoga, and I'm like, oh, it's people just putting themselves into different positions with their body. But yoga is actually a spiritual discipline, and it's based on an extremely subtle science which focuses on bringing harmony between our body and our minds. So the word yoga actually is derived from the Sanskrit word yuj, which means to join or to yoke or to like unite. So basically, yoga means union. So it's the ultimate goal of yoga is to achieve liberation from suffering by combining body, mind, and soul. Does that make sense?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah? Okay, perfect.
Where did it drive? I'm sorry. Where did the actual what language though? Did you say that? I'm sorry. Maybe I missed that part.
No, that's fine. Sanskrit.
Sanskrit. Okay, that you did say it. Okay, great.
Mhm.
Thanks. Okay.
Yeah, that's fine. So it originally originated in ancient India. So that's why, things are written in Sanskrit, and it was handed down originally before they ever wrote out like yoga practices or the concepts of yoga or the yoga sutras. That it was taught basically from teacher to student. So they would, speak it. Basically, it was handed down from one person to the next. And then there's a sage who first like started to codify it. His name is Patanjali, and he started to write the Yoga Sutras. So these are like basically texts. And so basically it's almost like a yoga Bible, I guess you could say. I don't want to say that, but it is like the yoga teachings and the practices.
So can I ask you a question on that? So if it was passed
Yeah.
down through how many years was it passed down before it was handwritten? Did,
Hmm.
did,
That's a really good idea. A good question. I think it was in 400
well, okay.
that, that it was that was when the text arose. But now I'm
gotcha.
like, I want to look that up to make sure I'm giving you the proper information.
The reason I ask that is because it was passed down from one person to another. Then I would think that there might be some changes over time, that the original concept might have altered over the period. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
what we're seeing is what we have now is what might not have been exactly how it originally started. So
Hmm.
I
Absolutely.
just a guess, but unless they were somehow able to memorize it word for word, and which doesn't usually happen with human beings. Human beings have a tendency to alter the facts when when it's gone from word to word. So person to person, I mean. So
Hmm.
anyway, go ahead. I
Yeah.
just wanted to ask that.
Mhm. No, that's fine. It does say that it was written, they don't know exactly when, but it was written between 200 and 400
Okay.
in the early century CE.
C C
So
C E.
CE it says.
What's C E? I'm sorry. I know there's BC and AD. What's CE?
I
Is that
know, I don't know.
okay? Okay.
Common era.
Oh, Common Era. Oh, okay.
Before the common era is BC. So it's now 400.
Okay, so it's
So it's not
basically
BC. It wasn't BC. It's now 400 now.
it's like saying AD. It sounds like I assume. Well,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, interesting. Look, we're learning. We're both learning together. Uh, the reason why a lot of people, when you say yoga, they think of like the physical practice, is because it's most commonly associated with that. But the physical practice of yoga is called the asanas. And the word asana is another word that has another meaning. It means to take one's seat. So every pose that somebody takes in yoga is the idea of them taking their seat in that pose and combining breath and mind. And the actual physical practice of yoga was originally created to help people to sit in meditation comfortably. Because if you move your body and you take care of your joints and you feel good in alignment in your physical body, it's a lot easier to sit for long periods of time. So that's that connection between yoga and meditation, if that makes
Oh,
sense.
yeah, it does. So
Hmm. All right, cool. So there are, like I said, there are 8 limbs of yoga. And that first, I can run you through them. You want me to just run you through them and then kind of explain what each limb is? Are you interested in this? I don't want to
Yes. Oh,
bore
yeah,
you to
yeah, yeah.
tears with too many details.
No, I can do it, and, what I can do is, I can list that on their screen while we're talking so people can see what they are because, these words look pretty interesting. Give me a second here, and I'll bring them up, and then you can go ahead and start. I'll just bring it up while you're talking, so.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. You're like my assistant. So the each of the eight limbs of yoga, really what they're doing is they're offering a meaning of living with more integrity, with self-discipline. Their intention is respect for nature and really connection with the spiritual aspects of life. So these are eight practices that are intended to be carried out in a really holistic and integrative manner in like the life of a yogi. So a yogi, I don't know if you've ever heard that term. The term yogi is just means a person who is practicing yoga.
Okay.
That's
So
all it is.
just
And um sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say Yogi Berra, which was the cartoon character of Yogi Bear was based on, but that's about it, so, yeah. So
It's true, right? So the yamas, which you're seeing right in front of you, thank you for sharing that Zoom. That those are the five universal ethical and moral observances that are lived by when practicing yoga. And those are like just basically beliefs, right? So they're like values that a yogi runs their life on. So they work to observe them, right? Because we're still, even though we might be yogis and we might be practicing yoga, we're still human, right? So we do the best that we can, which is why like we're saying that these are offered as a means of living with more integrity, but it happens, right? You fall in, you fall out. Yoga is a practice like anything else in life. So those five universal and ethical observances are nonviolence, truthfulness, non-stealing, continence, and non-covetousness.
interesting. I like how some of them have the word "non" in front of it. Instead of just saying what it is, they kinda say what it isn't in a way.
Right. It's very interesting, right? Because I guess because they're observances, so we're observing the opposite of. It's like you don't want to be violent, you want to be non-violent, right? You don't want to steal, you want to be non-stealing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is interesting. I never even thought about that, and I've practiced yoga for a long time too. I never even thought about that. I just kind of accepted it.
Uh-huh. Okay. So
And then
yeah, I was gonna say
sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna add to that. Yeah, it seems like well, I'll just add to that. It seems like you would want to it almost seems like you're making a person think when they say it. So they have to when they say it's not this, they have to think, oh, what it's something else then instead. So it's instead of just saying what it is, I mean, you could say instead of nonviolent, just say instead of saying peaceful. I don't know. I don't know if peaceful
Mhm.
maybe there's just not a word that really fits it, I guess, in some way. I'm guessing. So
Yes, because they mean, when you're studying them, it really breaks down to like nonviolence in all aspects of life. So it's nonviolence towards yourself, towards others, towards animals, in your actions, in the way that you approach conversations, like all that, like even with your words, the words that you speak, like being the intention behind them is to be nonviolent towards somebody else. If you're talking to them about any subject, really, always going back to that like that belief. And there are also each of the yamas and the niyamas has a Sanskrit word, and I would butcher it if I told you all the Sanskrit words, but this one, that nonviolence, is one of the. I feel like it's the foundation that all the other ones are built off of, and the Sanskrit word for that is ahimsa or
is
ahimsa,
is
depending
that
on how you pronounce it.
is that on there? It's not on there, is there? No, it's not. So it's
No,
not.
it's not on the sheet. No, it didn't break down all of the yamas, but it's Ahimsa. That's how it's spelled. So if you
Okay.
ever see that word, some people like have tattoos of that on their arms. Like on my one of my friends has one like on her wrist, Ahimsa on the side of her arm. Like so if you ever see like yoga practitioners, sometimes they have that word because a lot of them want to be reminded of like that foundational belief in yoga that everything else is kind of built off of.
Okay. Do you have that tattooed on your arm?
No.
Okay.
I have one tattoo on my lower back. It's the word faith, and I'm gonna tell the whole world right now, I wish I could get it removed.
Oh.
It's so funny. I feel like I always like I did this years ago when I was younger and, young and carefree and fearless. And then you get older and you're like, oh, I don't know if I really wish I put that there. What are you going to do about it, right?
I'll tell you right now, I do not have any tattoos or any piercings on my body. So my body's all natural. So
It's perfect and it's all perfect. Right? Okay. So the Zoom, did you ever want to get a tattoo? Is
no,
that
no, never, never.
no?
No,
Okay.
I will say my sister, she's 7 years younger than me. She did get a tattoo on her leg of the sun, and which is a yellow circle basically. And because she used to be a singer, she's a very talented singer. I don't know, I'm not sure why she didn't take that up as a career, but and she would call herself Soul Diva. So that was the sun, so she had it tattooed on her leg. And that's the only family member that has a tattoo. So no one else, and what I consider my close family, does not have. She's the only one, and she also had at the time she had an old LTD Ford from built in the mid '80s, and she actually painted the same sun on the side of her car. So it was on her leg and on her car at the same time. So,
It's so cool. So it's at least it's meaningful. It's beautiful when you have something that means something to you. I love that. I love hearing stories of people's tattoos too.
mhm.
It's really cool. Okay, so the next limb of yoga are the niyamas, which are the five spiritual and self-discipline observances, right? So the other ones are the moral observances, and these are self-discipline observances. And these are cleanliness, contentment, study of scriptures, surrender to God, and spiritual austerities.
Hmm. Well, let me ask you, what if you don't believe in some of the things there? I mean, does it, you not, are you violating any of the rules? I mean, can you still do this? I mean, is it gonna, how's that work exactly?
No, I don't think so. I mean, they're really like an outline of the way that, you should try to be when you're practicing yoga, but I mean, a lot of us read it and reread it and we fall into it, we go out of it, like what I was saying earlier. It's like they're practices, so like sometimes you might not be so truthful, right? Sometimes we're not always of integrity with our word. We strive to be this way, but we're humans, right? There's this yogic saying that says we're not, and one of my teachers shared this on her like social media, and I loved it so much, and I kind of adopted it, and I hope I don't butcher it, but it was we're not we're not humans having a spiritual experience, we're spirits having a human experience.
Hmm.
So it's like that's like kind of like their belief that we're doing the best we can as humans and like spirits living in human form. And it depends on what your belief is, right? So if you say like we are spirits having a human experience, then we're gonna mess up, right? And I feel like that's any way you believe, really. We're humans, so we mess up, we make mistakes, like we're not perfect, and we do the best that we can every day. So I think that if you don't believe all of these, I don't think that's any reason that you couldn't practice yoga. Absolutely not.
Oh, I wouldn't think. Yeah, I think people would still do it anyway. I was just curious. So, if you were to do
Mhm.
it, say in the traditional way, and you were with a bunch of traditionalists, would they like say, "No, you can't do this," and force you out? So, and that's the only thing I could come
I
up with.
don't I don't know. I would think no, because that's not even a yogic way to be, right? If they're all about nonviolence, and if you're telling somebody they can't be part of what you're doing, that's kind of violent towards them, right? Like,
Yeah, in a sense, yeah, it would be like not
mhm,
acceptance. It would be the right term, I guess. So, and I would,
mhm.
based on what you're saying, it seems like there would be it seems like it's more like an overwhelmingly form of acceptance, like tolerance and things. Even if you don't believe the same things, we still accept you in our group, so to speak. So, I'm, gu-
Absolutely.
I'm
Mhm.
guessing. I was making an assumption there, of course, but yeah. So,
Yeah, no, but that's kinda how it is. It's this idea of non-attachment, so you can't even be attached to, like, the rules or, like, the observances. We don't call them rules, but, like, the observances, right? You can't even be attached to that because yoga's whole point is to achieve liberation from suffering, and it's our attachments. We believe that it's our attachments to things and people in life that causes suffering. Even like an attachment to an emotion can cause suffering.
hmm, hmm. Really?
It's so
Okay.
heady, right? It's just a lot.
Yeah. So yeah, yoga really goes. Oh, wow, this is interesting. Okay, so it does. There's a lot to this. So
Absolutely. People study this their whole lives, there's a lot to it. Absolutely.
you say cellular lives.
Um,
How long did you study this for? Are you
I've
still?
I've been I started yoga in 2017. I
Okay.
started practicing like consistently, but I did practice yoga like for off and on when I was younger, but I didn't really commit to the practice until 2017. And I'm not even this committed, right? Where I don't practice every limb. I don't I mean, I read about the yamas and niyamas. Do I live them every day? Absolutely not. Or else I would be kidding myself, right? I try to be nonviolent towards others. I try to be truthful, but sometimes, like we're not even truthful with ourselves sometimes.
Oh yeah. Well,
It's like
there are times when you have to. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there, but there are times like where you have to. You do have to lie. I mean, there's just the way it is. So, um,
mhm,
but not to be
mhm.
deceitful. It's just there's a lie just for good intention, I guess you could say. But yeah.
Right. Mhm.
But yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to
So,
cut you off there. Go ahead.
no, no, you didn't cut me off. It's fine. We're having a nice conversation. So, I was just gonna go on to the next one. The next limb is called asana, and that's the physical practice. That's what most people are used to. Like when you say yoga, that's how most people identify, especially, in the Western world, I guess, right? Most people identify with the physical practice.
Okay.
Um, Yeah, so that was like I said before, it was originally intended only for seated meditation, but it started to more recently become adapted to encompass all practices.
Okay.
It's interesting. So the next limb is pranayama, and that's the breathing exercises. So if you've ever heard of like people doing breath work or any kind of breathing exercises, that's another limb of yoga. It's the breath, and that's used to control the flow of what's called prana. And prana, the word prana means vital life force. So we breathe in order to control the flow of our life force. Because I mean, how often have you? We breathe every day, right? We're always breathing, but are we really aware of the breath?
Hmm.
And for me, the physical practice gives me the ability to come out of my mind and to focus on my breath and to remind me like of the present moment, to be present, to be aware of what's happening, and to get out of what we call the monkey brain, or like the way like our minds race and things like that. The breath is an amazing tool that could help to control anxiety and stress and help us to, connect to what's right here, right now, the present moment.
Okay. All right.
Okay. So, and then there's pratyahara, which is withdrawal of the senses. So when you're like pratyahara, basically it's like no sight, right? Not hearing anything. It's just being right here, right now. And like, that's the whole point, right? It's to drop attachments and to be in the here now, to be in this moment, not attached to emotions, like I said, or thoughts, or any people, anything like that.
Oh, really? So like disassociate yourself with loved ones and everything? Is that right?
Well, see, so if you don't have an attachment to loved ones, then because what an attachment now, I don't want to say like I'm interpreting this for all of yoga, but this is the way that I personally interpret it because I can only speak from I. But with that, I believe that our attachments to loved ones can cause suffering, right? Because if we put an expectation on a loved one to do a certain thing for us and they don't show up or they don't do that, that causes us to be upset. So it causes suffering for us.
Hmm.
Also, if we weren't attached to loved ones, um, if we lost them, right? When we lose them, we wouldn't suffer so much without that attachment to them and what they mean to us and represent in our lives.
Hmm. Okay. Well, that's okay. That sounds kind of like sacrificing having a nice life for because you've in the future you know you're going to have pain. I don't know. It's
No, so it's not saying don't have a relationship with them. It's saying have a relationship, appreciate the person for what it is and everything, and have all of the experience. But when you're not attached to it, when it's like you realize that everything's constantly changing, so when it's gone, it's okay because you're still fine.
oh, okay. Okay.
So it's not having an attachment to it. It's being grateful for it, experiencing it for what it is in the moment, but not getting caught up because each moment is like something new. So you're okay with like the ebb and flow of the world. You don't let the outside things affect your calm.
Okay.
I don't know if I'm
Okay.
explaining that right.
You are. You definitely are. I experienced something like that about 10 years. I'm not going to get into the details, but it's similar to what you're saying.
Mhm.
I experienced a life changing event, and the in my own head, that is, and I it affected me for like maybe a few weeks, or maybe I don't know, maybe a couple of months. I don't remember how long it was. And the way you described it, I found a video on YouTube to help me get through it. It was on you. Actually, it wasn't on YouTube. I take that back. It was on another website, and it was it helped me. It said essentially what you're saying right now, in a way. It helped me get through like my little crisis I had. So, and what you're saying for me. It makes perfect sense. So,
I'm happy to hear that you were able to get through it and you found support and like a tool that could help you to get through it. That makes me really happy.
right.
Not
The,
happy that it happens, but happy that you were able to get through it and find something on the other side.
the interesting thing was that the video was what I needed to hear at the right time, and I went back to it like not too long and later, and it was completely gone. So it was there when I needed it, and it was once I saw it, it was just gone. Which I didn't need to see it again, but I was just curious, and it's kind of funny how it was there right when I needed it. So,
Oh, I love that. It's like meant to be.
uh huh.
Okay, so the next one, what do we do? We did, okay, dharana, which is single pointed concentration. So that's just focusing on something. We call it sometimes drishti in yoga. It's another word. It just means focus. So it's like the concept of when you focus on something where energy is going to flow there. Right? So when you're focused on doing one thing at one time, you have the ability to really give all of yourself to that. That makes sense. So it's really focusing on one point.
Okay. Okay.
Dhyana is meditation. So that is the limb that's meditation. So, like you had said, is yoga similar to meditation? So, meditation is a limb of yoga. But,
Okay.
like I said earlier, too, the yoga, the physical asana, was originally intended for the seated meditation. So, makes sense, right?
Mm-hmm.
I
And so,
hope. I'm
and
so-
it does. As far as each of these limbs, though, because you jumped past that last one pretty quickly. Are there more
oh.
that ones that are considered? I'm not asking you to go back. What I'm leading up to is, does that mean that some of these limbs are considered to be more important than the others, or is it just, are they all equal? How does that work out?
No, I think they're all equal. I think maybe I just felt like it didn't really need to be described as much, Dharana. Or maybe some of them are more in depth than others.
That's fine. I just want, yeah, I wasn't sure if
Mhm.
there's any level of of priority. That's all. That's I was, so so these in the list you gave them in is just a random order. There's nothing like that, right?
Well, I think each one builds on the other one.
Okay.
So like without doing, the meditation or the breathing exercises, you can't achieve samadhi, which is liberation or blissful union with the divine. You have to have all the other steps in order to achieve like ultimate liberation.
Okay, I got a comment from Gamers Gameplays. Yes, yoga, what is that word? Manit.
It says it's probably manifestation, maybe,
Okay, so
or maybe misspelled.
okay,
Mhm.
but it's saying so healthy. Okay, thank you. So how see? Would you say based on that, how would you respond to that? I guess.
Oh, I would say I 100% agree that yoga has like helped me so much. I don't know if I've said this in the past, and I probably have. So just let me know if I'm repeating myself, and I apologize if I am. But I was suffering with really bad anxiety about 7 years ago, and that's actually what ultimately brought me to make the decision to practice yoga. I had walked into a yoga studio and they were doing a 40-day yoga challenge. And I had no idea what it was. And it was 40 days of physical asana practice, meditation, breath work, journaling, and completely changing your diet. Like, not completely changed, depending on how your diet was. It was really moving to a whole food focused way of living.
Hmm,
And once I did that 40-day, I felt so present, and like I had all these tools in my tool belt now that I could use to help me when I felt anxious or when I felt stressed out. So, yeah, so it was that practice that really kind of was like a pivotal moment in my life where it changed me and opened me up to the practice, like the things about it that I never knew.
Oh, okay. Oh, interesting. So I think you've said this before to me. I don't know if we were doing a show, but or we were live, but yeah. So it's basically for you, it's been a life changing thing. So is that right?
Yeah, and I'm like, I don't wanna sound I feel like, does that sound cliche, you know, what would change my life? But for me, it did, and that's all I can offer, like I said earlier, is I can only speak from me. So for me, this worked,
Oh, okay.
but everybody's different. Mhm.
So before we go too far, I wanted to bring this up here. That when I was a kid, there was a TV show called That's Incredible, and there was one episode where the guy was using yoga, or at least he claimed to use yoga. He was a huge guy, big muscular guy. He went into this clear plastic box and stayed there for the entire show. So while we were doing the show was an hour long, and while we were talking, I was able to bring that up so I can see what there he is right there. You can see what he looks like. So
Wow. Isn't that amazing how people can turn themselves into, like, pretzels, basically?
yeah. So, but that when I think of yoga, what's one of the things that pops into my head was that episode. And he was at the very beginning, he was going into a very serious meditation kind of a thing. Like he was, I don't know if meditation is the right word, but it was very much he was like it felt like his concentration was focused on that and nothing else. He didn't say anything. He just gradually worked his way into the box, and at the very end, he came out and he was okay. So
Yeah, it's incredible, and it is. You were right, the word is meditation, absolutely.
and it's funny because that's the name of the show too. That's incredible. So.
Perfect.
So, you also added did you add a oh, did you want to add any did you have anything else to add to that? The limbs, 8 limbs of yoga?
No, that was it, we went through them, I think.
Okay,
Mhm.
and then you had a list of the styles too. Did you wanna go through those?
Yeah, if people are interested, sure. Are you interested too? I don't
Yeah,
feel
sure.
like I'm chewing your ear off today, but, sure. So
Okay.
there are a lot of different styles of yoga. I just wanted to touch on a few that like most people might hear about in case anybody's interested in starting a practice or maybe you're already practicing and interested in learning more. There is restorative, which is more of like a meditative practice. Restorative is where you're put onto like pillows and bolsters and blankets and you're made to be very comfortable, and usually, like, the teacher will either light candles or play music and help you to get into, excuse me, a meditative state. Some people fall asleep because they're so tired from, like, the everyday life and the hustle and bustle of what we deal with. So that's a beautiful practice, restorative yoga. There's also gentle yoga. So gentle yoga is the movement that you're probably familiar with, but it's holding positions for a little bit of a longer period of time than like a power flow would be. Let me not get ahead of myself, right? There's vinyasa, which is the flow. So a lot of people probably like if you do this more for the physical practice for a little bit of invigoration, the vinyasa is in. So vinyasa is like taking one move and then connecting it, linking it with the sequence to another one. It's a little bit quicker than a gentle. And then there's power flow. And power flow is what I do, what I'm trained in, and what I started my practice in, which I think a lot of people start with power yoga, like in the Western culture. It's a physical, invigorating physical practice. So you're moving quickly with the poses. You're doing high to low planks or something called chaturangas. Some people know what a chaturanga is. Yeah, so that's like a more invigorating. That's also a lot of times can be heated. So we do like I'm trained in the Baptiste style of power yoga, and that style is heated from 85 to 90 degrees
Oh. Oh, wow.
just to help you. Yeah, it's awesome though. Like once you do it, like for me physically, I've realized why the heat is so beneficial. It's like really beneficial to sweat because it helps your body to release toxins, but it's also really helpful because it helps you to get a little bit deeper into your joints and help you to be a little bit more flexible
Mm.
so
I
that you're not injuring yourself because you don't want to do these things cold either, right?
oh,
Because you could end up hurting yourself.
well, yeah, everybody gotta warm up. It's like a standard warm up, is that what you mean? Like, just warm your body up before you do it?
Yeah, absolutely. Anybody who's doing yoga, please warm up. Don't just jump into a pose. You could really hurt yourself. I should have said that before, right? Disclaimer, medical disclaimer.
But wait, talk about so 85, like 85 to 95. Is that what you said? 85 to 95 degrees? Is that what you said?
85 to 90 to 90, yeah.
90. Okay, and so yeah, you're all sweaty. I assume you don't want to wear too much. I assume you don't want to wear the kind of outfits you wear. Does it matter what you wear? Because when you brought that up, I'm thinking to myself, you don't want to wear like long sleeves or I assume you want to wear something in general for all these different styles. I guess. What does it matter though? I assume for that one you wouldn't want to wear very much though. I don't know because you're gonna really heat up if you wear too much.
Yeah, so you can wear anything you want, but usually with the power or with the heated yoga, people wear shorts. A lot of women sometimes just wear leggings and sports bras. You can wear, there are people that do it in the long sleeves because they really want to sweat it out. You can really do essentially anything. I would recommend for women, I recommend like leggings and like a sports bra and a tank top over it, but you could always take the tank top off if you need to, if you're just sweating so much. And for men, a lot of times men will wear like shorts, gym shorts. Sometimes men wear shirts, sometimes they take their shirt off. It's such a different culture and it's just like accepted. When you're in like a yoga studio, it's we're used to it, because it's so hot.
Hmm, gotcha.
And
Uh,
even on the subject of heated yoga, Bikram, have you ever heard of Bikram yoga?
no, I've
I don't
not.
know if I'm even saying it right or if it's like Bikram. I don't know the right way to pronounce it because I don't practice it, but Bikram is a style of yoga where there's a specific set of poses that they do and they do them over and over again, but they're not connected like a vinyasa. Okay, so it's a fixed series, it's 26 poses and it's done in the heat as well. And some Bikram studios go up to like 100 degrees.
Oh, here's an image. I think I got that right. So
You got one?
is that it? Is that what we're looking at right there?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So they do 26 standing poses in 90 minutes and it's heated. So you see how like the girls are wearing little shorts and little, sports bras and the guys in these tiny little shorts because it's so hot. Bikram's even hotter than the
Oh,
vinyasa.
I bet you it was really high, especially with the number of people that are in there. The generator.
Mhm.
So you not only have the heat turned on, you have the that's just being generated by the people. So that room is probably, I imagine, just really, really warm. So I mean, if it's,
Abs-
I, I assume you might not even have to turn the heat up as much if you have that many people in there. I don't know.
it's true. That happens too though in the yoga studio where I teach. Sometimes you don't have to actually put the heat. We have heat panels, radiant heat panels on the ceiling. And sometimes you don't even have to put them on when it's so hot outside also. So like in the summer months, sometimes the heat outside is just enough.
Yeah. There's another technique, another exercise technique, called, bar. It's like similar to ballet. I have a friend that does this.
Yeah, bar. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Is
one of my friends she's a bar trainer. Uh-huh.
is that similar to yoga, would you say, in some way?
I think some of it is, yeah, because there's a lot of flexibility in it. I think that some of the moves are similar.
Okay.
Because
It's
my friend who's a bar instructor, she actually also became a yoga instructor
oh, okay.
because
Yeah,
I think they work kind of together. I'm sorry, I keep cutting you off, Zoom. Go ahead.
no, it was just pure bar. I couldn't remember. That's what she refers to it as, pure bar. So, and but yeah, okay. I was just curious because yeah, it's looking at the way what I've seen, what she was describing it, it looked kind of similar to these moves. I don't know. That's why I thought I'd ask. So
hmm It is. You're right. 100% accurate.
let's see. I can write that. There it is. I didn't spell right, but yeah, there we go. So, but yeah, just another something on.
Mhm.
Okay. Alrighty.
Yeah,
Cool.
that's actually warrior one legs. Those are warrior legs. The way that her legs are right now, it's a warrior.
Oh, okay.
Warrior two.
Okay. No,
Mhm.
I've seen for pure bar though that's
Mhm.
more for women. I don't see too many. There are some men that apparently do it, but it's mostly this is just more for women than anything else that I've seen. So
Mhm.
so is it? But anyway, we're getting. I don't know if we're getting off the subject too far there. I've just as far
That's
as
fine. We're just letting it flow.
Yeah. As far as yoga goes, it seems like it's more of a general mix, though. It's like equal men and women. Is that correct?
Yeah, I mean, it depends, but yeah, absolutely. Like a lot of, it's a joke too that a lot of yoga teachers are women, but yoga, the practice itself was actually created by men mostly. So it's interesting, but I think that there's a fair mix of both men and women practicing. Absolutely.
Okay. Okay.
Mhm.
All right. Yeah, alrighty. I guess we can go back to this. Was there so you got it? Oh, Bikram, there was right. There was right in front of me all the time. Um,
Mhm.
and then what did you talk about the last one? The one on our list there?
No, so that yoga nidra is actually it's yogic sleep. Basically, it's laying like people will lay in like a shavasana or like a corpse pose basically. Like you'll lay, you could put pillows on, you could lay on pillows, you could lay on blankets, you could cover yourself with blankets. And it's a meditative state where you actually it's so cool. They do a lot of there's types of yoga nidra, but the one that I've experienced is when they do like a full body scan with you and they walk you through each part of your body so that you could release and soften into the ground, and it's a really restorative effect. And 20 minutes of yoga nidra, which is like a meditation, 20 minutes of doing that is equivalent to 2 hours of sleep for your body.
Really? Wow. Really? Wow.
Hmm.
This is
So it's
so.
very restorative.
So if you did this, would that would you be able to cut back on the number of hours of sleep in real time? I mean, is it?
I don't think so.
Oh, okay.
No, I think
Okay.
it's meant to help you. I think it's meant to just help support you. If you're feeling tired or if you're having a hard time sleeping, it's just for your body. I think for your cells, it's really it's a great way to help your cells regenerate. It's good for your body.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. So and there's one image where someone's laying on the water. Is that real, or is that like some sort of image?
Well, I think maybe she's showing what it can be like
You're like what your
because
mind
it
is.
can feel like yeah, because you could feel like you're actually floating.
Oh, okay. Okay. I see. I was wondering if it was meant to be something that you're feeling, or if that's the real thing. Because I can't. If she was floating on something and on the water. Okay. Anyway, that's cool. Alrighty. Cool. Now, as far as these styles, what would you? Is there any that are better? I mean, are they just specific for whatever you want, what you're trying to achieve? I guess. So how does that work?
Yeah, it's definitely specific to what you're trying to achieve. I think everybody's different. And I think it's awesome that yoga offers so many different styles so that no matter like what you're looking for, there's going to be a tool basically that can support you.
Okay.
Mhm.
All right. Then now there was what did we have time? Did you want to talk? I don't know if how much time you have left. If you want to talk, I mean, about the benefits, because we have a list of benefits as well. Did you want to talk about that?
That's up to you. I don't know if you have to get done.
No, I'm fine. I'm fine on time.
I could,
If you have time, I have time. So it's fine. We
yeah,
can.
sure. I could go. Okay. Sorry. I keep cutting you off, Zoom. This is terrible. Go ahead.
No, that's fine. I was done. I was finished. So
Okay. Yeah, sure. So what I can do is I can just quickly go through a few of the science-backed benefits of yoga. Um, and one of a really cool thing is that they reduce your risk of fall because some of the if you've seen like what Zoom you were showing the pictures, some of the poses, sorry, I couldn't think of the word, are balancing poses. So it's really beneficial for older adults. Research has actually shown that doing these balancing and muscle strengthening activities can help to reduce your risk of falling. Also, they reduce stress and actually can help to reduce the release of the stress hormone cortisol that's in our body. And cortisol can actually, unfortunately, lead to weight gain. And some people, causes them to gain weight around their midsection as well. So this can help to reduce that. Also, like what I said, it can reduce anxiety. There have actually been several studies showing that yoga and the practices of yoga can decrease symptoms of anxiety for people that were participants during a trial. And what was really interesting is that people who suffer from PTSD in the trial specifically, nearly half of them showed little to no symptoms at the end of a 10-week trial.
Wow.
Just like I think it's incredible, right? It's like mind blowing the benefits, the way that this could really help people with anxiety. I mean, it worked for me, right? So and again, like when I'm saying, I can only speak from my own, experience, but there were studies, actual, scientific studies done that showed this. So it's pretty incredible.
Oh, interesting. So, as far as like, I mean, are these studies are they? I hate to use the word like peer reviewed or something. Is it something to back them up, or is it more conjecture? I assume that they really are, that these studies are really helping people. I guess I don't know what the right word is I'm looking for. Sometimes
Hmm.
people sometimes there's a bias, and people say, "Oh, this is working. We had a study," and it's like and the study is skewed in some way to make it seem like something is working in a certain way. I mean, these studies are pretty unbiased. I guess is the way I'm looking at it.
Well, I mean, I didn't look up the study specifically. I did find some of this information from an article in healthline.com,
Okay,
which is they're a source that I like to use a lot when I'm coaching people and just letting them know information. So I can go back in and look it up for you if you want me to. But you know, I
that's fine.
didn't do that before
No, that's fine.
before we chatted.
No, that's fine. That's fine. I mean, if you, yeah, it's the now as far as the studies, did they talk about all the things you have listed here on the as far as the everything you have listed there, or did it just
They're
talk about?
not, they don't all have studies. So I can tell you the ones that do, which like this one, the one about inflammation markers. There were trial participants who actually suffered with cancer and like a few other diseases, and the inflammation markers that they checked were lowered after participating in yoga classes for weeks, but this one didn't have enough evidence. Like this one did not have enough evidence to make this like a claim that it reduces inflammation, but they did say like the results in the trial were pretty promising, but you can't, like this one, you can't go off this one.
Right. Okay. Yeah, that's what I was wondering because
Yeah.
sometimes, if they're,
No,
there's studies, but you wonder if you can actually trust those studies. That's what I was,
yeah. It looks like no, it looks like these are really promising, but not necessarily something that we can say with a matter of fact, this is definitely going to have this effect on you.
So,
It
but I guess,
could.
yeah, go ahead.
Mhm.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, so like the use of the word may, like it may reduce inflammation, but we don't really know.
Yeah.
you know?
Because when people are suffering from something and they're like, they hear this and go, wow, that might help me. And then they do it, and then they might not achieve what they're trying to achieve because they say, well, it was supposed to work because I heard it in a study. And then I guess the thing is to let them know that the disclaimer would be, no, it may not actually work for you, but it may. It's like you said, the word may is
Hmm.
the primary word there. So, okay.
Hmm. Right. Like a lot of times I'll say the word may, could, possibly, those things.
Gotcha.
Even with this, like with flexibility, they use the word promote flexibility. It's not going to make you flexible, but it can promote flexibility in your body. So it's interesting, that choice of words.
Yeah. And the whole, how about PTSD? You talked about that. I know someone who talks about having that. Um, And, is that a comment? Does that really, I mean, the numbers you gave sound really, I mean, you said, uh, how many you said, they got rid of most of PSD or almost completely got rid of it? Was that a lot of people that experienced that? I forgot what you said.
It said half of the participants.
Oh, half of them. Okay.
So
Okay.
half of them it didn't work for half, showed little no symptoms.
Hmm.
So it's exactly what it's like, right? It's like a 50-50 shot.
It's like
It
you,
could work, it might not work. It's like, yeah.
I'm sorry. Could you, it's like you're something, like something shot. You broke, you got that warbly sound. I'm sorry. Could you say that again?
Oh, I'm sorry. It's like basically you give it a shot, right? So they gave it a shot, and for half of them it worked, and for half of them didn't.
Okay. Okay. That's how you sound better that
Mhm.
time. Okay. All right.
Mhm.
So as far as the benefits for you, where would you go fall into this?
For me, it definitely reduced my symptoms of anxiety. It helps me to be much more flexible. Strength, absolutely. I'm balancing. I breathe better. I feel like for me, it's actually helped with physical pain that I struggle with from I was in an accident back in 2008, and I using yoga and the tools of yoga as well as play to actually help me to like rehabilitate from the injury. I couldn't think of the word. Yeah, it helps me to sleep as well, and it helps me to really drop that monkey brain that I talked about.
Right.
Like
Well,
the thoughts, the constant thoughts, that like attachment to thoughts, like I'm able to kind of separate myself. So it's really giving me access to presence in my life.
no. How about I have a friend. I'm not going to give specific details, but this a friend has other I don't know what the right word is, but they suffer from other conditions. Is probably the best way to put it. And they have imbalances in their system that cause them to go through different moods and things like that. Do you think this might help a person in that way, yoga in general, or anything specific? What would your recommendation be for that?
Well, it really depends on what like imbalances they're dealing with, things like that. There are probably a few tools that they could use, but if somebody's dealing with like feelings of anxiety or, stress, I definitely, for me personally, this is what's worked for me, so I would do anything I can to help them. So
Okay.
I would definitely recommend trying it. I mean, sometimes you get to that point where you're like, I'll try anything,
Right.
anything natural or holistic just to try to get some relief. But it does take time. It's the thing. This is not like a quick fix.
Right.
Definitely it takes time to get into the practice and to,
So long
get to
term,
the point you want to get to.
and then you have to
Absolutely.
be
It's a lifestyle.
a lifestyle, right? You got that's what I meant. You got to maintain that. Once you get to that, you got to maintain it. You just can't give up because it'll probably go back to the way you were before. I assume. Is that right?
I would absolutely say that, yes, because I started the practice, that 40 day, and after that 40 day, I felt great, and I've been practicing ever since.
Hmm. So as far as is like on is there an average like how many people that experience benefits to this? How long do they till they experience the benefits? Is like an average for like obviously your experience is going to be different than someone else's. Is there like an average length though? Is it like a month, 2 months before they start feeling it? A week?
I think it depends on what the reason was for them coming to the practice, but isn't there like a scientific thing that says it takes 40 days to create new habits?
Is there? Okay, I'm not sure
There's
about
I
that.
don't know if it's something about 40 days, but I'm like, I think probably like they say like within 2 weeks, you should practice yoga for 2 to 3 weeks before you even feel like you're understanding it. I think at first, like all the pose names and all that stuff. And then I think that it does take a little bit of time to make it a habit in your life. And then once you get to that point, just it really depends though. It depends if you're doing it for flexibility, for strength, if you're doing it for anxiety, like it really depends upon the reasoning why. It could help you to lose weight as well. So it really depends on what your ultimate goal is with the practice.
Okay. All right. Well, and also this is do you have I know we don't mention this very much, but we always have your links in the description below. Is there anything particular for any of your links listed there that would help people who want to learn more about this?
Oh, absolutely. And if anybody wants to reach out to me as well, please do feel free to direct message me. Anybody who's listening live or anybody who's listening, to the recording later on, please, I am open to questions. I'm open to helping. I really do want to share this practice with as many people as I can because it helped me so much. So do feel free to send me a direct message, email me, go to my website. You can email me directly from my website if that works. If you're looking for some tips and tricks, you can go to my YouTube channel, but everything is linked right from my webpage. So if you go to either amandagargiulo.com or nourishyoursoulwellness.com, that page can send you to my YouTube page where I have actually a few recorded meditations up that you can try. There's a few health and wellness tips up there because I'm also a nutrition coach. Um, and yeah, if you do want to work with me, I am taking private clients. We could start and get you into really a health and wellness and mindfulness, into a habit, basically create a process for you that's going to help to support you. I would love to work with you. So feel free to go there and, reach out to me. Absolutely. You can also set up a free 20-minute consultation where we can hop on a phone call and kind of talk through your concerns and figure out what would be best for you. And if we would even work together, well, you never know. You hear me talking here, but you don't know you have to really jive with the person that you're working with and sharing so much with. So
Right.
if you want to call, definitely, click the link on my website, throw in your email address, and just let's hop on a call.
Yeah. So all the links I have listed below have your Instagram, your Facebook, your website that you mentioned, your YouTube channel, Nourish Your Soul Wellness, and yeah, and then there's the below that I have the final website, which is your what you call your link tree. So and it has all those in one place. So yeah, and for anyone listening, that's down below. You can it's right there's the NordVPN link at the very top, and then all of Amanda's links are just below that. So. Is
Yeah.
and yeah, and your email is on your website, is that correct?
Yeah, you can email me directly from my website. Mhm.
Alrighty. Okay. Anything else you'd like to add about yoga? It was very interesting. I learned some new things, that's for sure. And anything else you'd like to add before we wrap everything up?
No, just thank you so much for letting me share something that means so much to me.
Oh wow! Let me say like I didn't realize it was so much to you. It's interesting. I didn't realize I that was that much of a how to say this. So much of a when you say so much, like is it like a majority of your life? Would you say right now? Is it really a primary focus of your life? I guess that's the best way to put it.
It's not I wouldn't say it's a primary focus of my life. I'd say that I wouldn't be where I am today, like doing all the things that I'm doing if I didn't have the tools of the practice. I think the tools of the practice makes it so that regardless of, the fear that sometimes can show up or the lack of confidence, I continue to do it anyway, if that makes sense.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, it does. So alrighty. And yeah, we before we go too far, let's go ahead and let's check our question out from earlier. Um, so have you ever tried yoga? If you haven't, would you like to try? 50 more than half, 55% with yes, they have tried yoga. Or they're answering the second question. Let's see,
Mm.
21% with no, 14% I'm not interested, and 10% with I don't work out. One response, this person leaves he leaves a similar comment on some of these periodically. So this quiz is more efficient than secret service interrogations. so,
Hmm.
so he like I said, he leaves us a similar comment on these on these polls. Not all of the polls, but he comes on there. He does that every so often. So, but yeah, 55%. That's awfully high. Do you think that's at? Well, we only have 29 votes. So, do you think that 20 more on average, if you did a national average, do you think they would be that high?
No, I don't. So that's actually that was pretty impressive to me.
So
Mhm.
yeah, but of course you got to remember that's only out of 29 people so far. So, but we'll check that out next time and see what the results are. Yeah, it's for me. I thought it'd be much lower. I would probably guess not even maybe a quarter at the most, maybe 25% at the most. But I'm not an expert, of course. That's just a guess. So.
Mhm.
Alrighty, Amanda. There was like I said once again, there was great, a lot of information. I mean, you really know what you're talking about. One thing I do ask, how long did it take you to learn all that? Everything, because you're just seemed like you're just rattling off right off the top of your head.
Oh, yeah. That's really cool because I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to talk this long about it, and then I talked too long about it, so that's good. I did have I did have notes in front of me though, Zoom. I can't remember that much stuff, but
Oh, okay. So you're
all of
cheating.
it all of it's in there, but like the recall, it's like, I don't want to be mumbling around and forgetting what I'm gonna say. So yeah, so I've been teaching yoga since 2018.
Okay, but I mean, how long did it take you to
So
learn everything that you talked about though? As far as because when you teach yoga, do you go through all of this as well to everybody? I guess that's another question to ask.
no, because the yoga, like the classes are only an hour long, and usually what we do is we theme the classes to like a different like, something one yogic teaching. Like we could theme it to like one yama, so we could talk all about ahimsa, right? In one. So I wouldn't give out this much information in one yoga class. That would be a lot. That would be a lot to take in
Okay, so
while you're trying to do the physical practice. It would be a lot.
So basically, if you're taking classes with you, you're not going to be sitting there taking notes. You're going right into the actual yoga then, right?
Yeah, I teach physical practice. I also teach meditation. I teach breath work. So it depends on specifically what that class is about. hmm
Okay. And we got, before we say goodbye, we have one more comment from Dozen Hoss Play 3.0. Hello back. Dozen Hoss always likes to leave comments there. Thank you very much. Alrighty, we'll go ahead and that. Oh, and for everyone, if you'd like to support what we're doing, we have the affiliate link for NordVPN. If you click on that, purchase the service, that would help fund what we're doing. We really appreciate that. Any final words, Amanda? We'll get out of here.
I just wanted to thank everybody so much for joining and for, writing in, for answering questions. And again, feel free if you want to reach out. I am easily accessible if you just click the links below. So thank you, Zoom, for giving me the platform to speak about something that I love.
Yeah, it's great. And yeah, I could tell you definitely had a lot of enthusiasm. I mean, I could tell you really, this is something that really is that you're very passionate about. That's the word I'm looking for. It was very obvious, and I appreciate that. It brings a lot to the channel. So, all right, everybody, we'll see you next time.